when women would come out of her natural role and be like a man. Even though she hate that role, when she was with a man that's weak, she hate him. But if he try to be strong, she'll stop it. I never imagined that. You're seeing good destroyed and abnormal is presented as normal.
I just wanted to say that I've been listening to you for a few years now, and when you talk about the illusion of racism and how it's just a divisive tool that the media uses, and it's just good and evil.
Yes.
And that's what we got to focus on. It really has changed my life. My perspective is totally different now. I'm more calm, I'm more peaceful. When you talk about forgiving your mother and letting go of that hate, and it just transforms you. So I just want to thank you for that and let you know that you really are doing God's work by waking people up with this message.
Amazing, Aaron. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Sure. I can hear the angels in heaven singing right now. They're rejoicing. That's amazing. Stay with the silent prayer. Speak up, don't resent, and doubt every thought. And Aaron, you have not seen anything. I have books that are amazing. I highly recommend you get them. 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Family, and Financial Success Guide. Even if you're not starting a business, but you have a job, or you're on welfare, it can help you if you do. Be doers of the word, all right? From rage to responsibility. From rage. That's what I write about in the first chapter, especially how I overcame scam. How the black leadership exploits black Americans. They are using them, and blacks are too willing to be used. And then my last book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. They are all amazing books, and they are helpful. Go to rebuildingtheman.com if you want an autographed copy, or call 800-411-2663. So I asked the question, are you better than a child molester? I've discovered over the 30 years of counseling, the one thing that's missing, and I think because it's not taught in the homes or talked about, we don't have examples of it, right, is love. Our theme this year is to bring back Christianity, to love God with all our heart, soul, and might, our neighbor as ourselves, and to endure. And when you're in a fallen state, people will judge the molester but think they're better than the molester. And I ask, well, why do you think you're better? When I realized it doesn't matter what you think about yourself, or how much you have or don't have, or how you accomplish things in life or don't. If you have no love, you have nothing. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
He's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you for tuning in. About to get started here. It's a pleasure. An absolute pleasure to be back with you today on this fine Wednesday. The week is going by quick. It's Bible Thumper Thursday tomorrow already. He's just a little baby. How you doing, folks? Thank you for tuning in. Can't say there's much going on. And I might be possibly proving what I've been fighting. What I've been fighting maybe even harder than ever lately. Being possibly the blackest one here. Possibly the blackest one at Bond, as they say, as some might say. There's a video, in fact. I had this video, it was censored. I had it for you censored since it's, since the sun is up to maybe describe this relationship a little better, but I might have to show you on Friday. But if you remember, there was a time when COVID had the hood stressing. Have you ever seen that video? And it's just a bunch of people, and it's just some guys standing outside in what is presumably the hood, some with masks on, and one of them is going on about viruses and influenza virus. And the way he goes on so confidently about a topic, the way he speaks so confidently about a topic, in such an expertly way, yet possibly being wrong, is so, how do I put it? I'll show you the video on Friday. I'm kind of like that. Kind of like these hood guys stressing over COVID, except I wasn't stressing over COVID. Stop touching glizzes with your hand. Funny stuff. We'll get into it. But the beef, I'm going to get into a little bit about this beef, okay? I've been kind of mentioning it a little bit, and I realized something. I'm talking about Drake versus Kendrick. It's Israel versus Hamas. This is Israel Hamas. For those who, this is everything I've been trying to say about Israel Hamas, and what I kind of feel about it and think about it. As I navigate this treacherous topic or whatever, I don't know. I haven't felt the treachery. I'm just an anchor baby speaking freely. People are like, so controversial. I'm waiting for someone to tell me something controversial I've said. But everything I've been saying about Israel Hamas is in this story here. It shows human nature, how evil people are, and how they're. It only takes especially when a populace is degenerated and demoralized. It really only takes a couple of levers, a couple of mind bugs, a couple of words and spells in the media, and enough people clamoring, and you could take down a man. Is that real power I smell? I want to get into it here because there's not much else going on, okay? And I might be the blackest one. I know a lot about this culture. I know a lot about these people. And I don't know why. I remember getting into, like I was showing you the other day, what rap was for me growing up, the bling rap. Now, I ain't saying she a gold digger. And other things. Even R. Kelly. I remember there was a time when the little anchor baby, right before I met my cousin who showed me Misfits and punk music, and I thought he was so cool skateboarding, I remember I had this big baggy shirt. It said like New York Herald or something like that. And it had this like gangster like font on it. And I was listening to R. Kelly. I was bumping Same Girl. Really hard. I don't think I ever kissed a girl. And I was like, man, we was talking to the same girl, man. Damn. Same girl. I was like, damn, I know, man. I don't think I ever kissed a girl at that point. But that was my experience a little bit. And to understand, I guess, might as well get into it, huh? You can call me, by the way, 888-775-3773. I'm telling you, this is Israel, Hamas, and everything I've been trying to say about it. It's the colonizers. It's racism. There's even on October 7th. It's incredible, really. It's truly incredible. That is a song, Willie Powell. It was R. Kelly. And I thought, no, I didn't think much about the man. I thought, well, who is that do-ragged individual whose song and dance has me feeling a type of way about a girl I never met? R. Kelly. I think at the time I actually, if I'm remembering, I must have been like, how old was I? I forget how old I was, but I remember bumping, not even bumping, just for some reason being obsessed with the rap opera. I saw Mad TV making fun of the rap opera. You know, R. Kelly, Trapped in the Closet. He has like a 36-part rap opera. Did you know this about R. Kelly? It's something like a 30, maybe I'm just thinking about YouTube. Maybe it's just an 8-part. Maybe it's just cut up into multiple parts on YouTube. But he's got a multi-act rap opera, okay? And it's called Trapped in the Closet, okay? Okay. I'm just saying, this is what the man put out. I don't know if you knew this. And it's about him being in the closet, and he's trapped, and he can't get out. He can't tell the world. He can't get out of the closet. So he's going to stay. He's trapped in the closet because he was messing around with another man's wife. And that's how the rap opera goes off. And so he's in the closet hiding, and then he comes out. It's a mess. You didn't know this? But anyways, to understand this beef, I guess, you got to go back to Control, Big Sean. Anybody know these names? We're going to get to hip-hop here a little bit. But it's going to be quite interesting because there's something about the rap, tough, thug, gangster world, which has a couple of levels, that really is posture. And not manhood. Okay, what am I trying to say here? Incredible things happening with human nature. I think you'll find it insightful. But there's something quite even grander, is this mask off of this gangster, thug, tough culture in some ways. That these tough gangster type individuals are actually a lot like their mothers. And you can almost see another chapter in you could see more chapters in The Antidote, written by Jesse Lee Peterson, if you will. You could write more chapters from the end of that book to and further on, and write about how a lot of what's going on here in rap and all that can exemplify what Jesse says about the mother, and how it's such a poetic example of what black men used to be like, for lack of a better term. You know what I'm trying to say here? A callback to that, and a real a juxtaposition. It's a stark difference. You get it? From what black men and men in general ought to be, etc. Right? So where was I? Control, Big Sean. You got to understand something here. Aubrey Graham, we got to understand this. Aubrey Graham, born in Canada, 1986 or something like that. A year later, Kendrick Duckworth is born in Compton, California. Both go on to make their name in the entertainment industry. Drake, hailing from Canada, making his name in the hit series 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, which is like a drama, I'm supposed to gather, I believe. Young people doing things that young people, coming of age and all that. 𝒔𝒐𝒂𝒍𝒔. He goes on to make music, etc. They make it big. But Kendrick is still a West Coast rapper, so to speak. Section 80 makes big splashes as a rap record amongst rap people. This is the Anchor Baby's opinion. And Drake starts making names in the pop, R&B, hip-hop world. They coincide and work together at some point. And it all comes to a head with Control, where Kendrick calls out a whole bunch of names, and it's like this. If you were a hip-hop person at the time, it's like, oh, this is huge. It's a return of rap beef. He's calling people by name and elevating the bar. Many saw it as a friendly but, bar elevating dig to the rap, to the industry, and basically starting a pattern here with Kendrick of calling out the industry and the world for their vapidness, being shallow. What are they really about? What motivates them, and what are their values? As opposed to and painting this picture, so to speak, painting this picture of the almost villainous figures on opposing this world that Kendrick painted, which is vapid and shallow and for the money, etc. The world. And this same two worlds would be further painted out in euphemisms and subtle digs, etc., and songs, and escalations via interviews between the two, etc., about being the best, being the greatest, and subtle digs at each other, what they're about, and their sincerity. Anyways, we get to 2015, 2016-ish, and the escalations are a little more serious, I guess, shall we call it, with Kendrick's For Free and Drake's For Free. Well, first Drake's For Free with DJ Khaled and Kendrick's For Free, ? As a response. And what did I want to zero in on here? The lyrics where how do I put this? Drake's song, very catchy, stays in your head, not taking itself too serious. Kendrick's For Free, F you, mother effer, you a hoe, a N-word, going hard, jazz, insane, very lyrical. Continuing this sort of picture, man, if I was a producer and I owned the music industry, this is such a good story, don't you think? But let's move on here a little quicker. Look, Israel, Hamas, it's coming up. Look, October 7th is coming up. So what happens next? Drake goes to L.A. He goes to L.A. and makes a song with The Game. Where are my LA people at in my chat? Where are my LA people at? I do require you. The Game, okay, so he's an LA guy, okay? And the significance it's like, look, I got The Game, I'm rapping with The Game, I'm in LA. He's in the song talking about all sorts of LA stuff. See, I'm valid, as Drake is saying. I'm valid. Who are you? I'm from Canada, I'm in LA, I got people in New York. Blah, 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 right? And it's been quiet, I guess, for some time. A lot of criticisms. Where's Kendrick? And when I was in high school, I guess, that's when I heard of Kendrick. That's how big this beef, sort of, because remember, it's pretty much started back then. That's how big, so to speak, it's been in the music industry, because even people who didn't care about rap, it broke through the mainstream, you understand? People didn't care about rap records. But now all of a sudden, Drake and all these people, these are household names. You understand? When you understand the money and the ego behind this, you might think this is silly. This is grown men writing poems towards each other, like my friend said, and he's absolutely correct. It's absolutely silly. But when you're the king of France and you have 300,000 subjects, and that empire is threatening your empire, is causing your subjects to question you and your power, it's wartime. You understand? We're living in a war zone. It's a war zone, like Yoko Ono said. And this war zone has been brewing with songs like, I forget which ones, but Drake and Kendrick saying stuff like, hey, it wasn't just, it stopped being about being the greatest rapper, but it was like threats. You lie about me, I'll say stuff about you. This was coming out on songs. And so the arms were brewing. They were gathering their arms, the sides, the different camps. They gathered weapons. They gathered their nukes, their arms, their songs, their information. It's an information war. And it's like, it seems quiet. Seems quiet. Seems like a time of relative peace, no? Seems like when you look out in the landscape, you don't see, I don't see bigotry and racism. It seems to be stamped down in this time of peace. I don't see activists, etc. I don't see, all I see is Drake and etc., okay? The world even started talking about a big three. They said they were the best. Drake, Kendrick, I think Drake, Kendrick, and this other guy named J. Cole. Not too important, don't worry about that. And that's what the world said. And everything was peaceful, right? Some people had their problems. There were gripes over times, but nobody really gave it too much attention because this is Drake, loved by all, at least many, and those who hate him are haters. But there were whispers, right? There were whispers of of misuse of his influence, bad faith, acting in bad faith. Anyways, all sorts of stuff. The point is, we get to October 7th, the attack. October 7th happens. We Don't Trust You. A studio album put out by former friends of Drake, so to speak, Future, Metro Boomin, and it includes a verse from this Kendrick male person. I don't know. Kendrick. And this is Hamas, right? This is October 7th. We Don't Trust You. I forget the details of that song, but it kicks it off. This is what kicked it all off. You understand? Drake responds. He's telling him, yeah, you gotta get to my level. You're making songs with Taylor Swift. You think you're gangster, etc. And then the October 7th Hamas attack doesn't end. It doesn't end. Kendrick puts out Euphoria, Meet the Grams, and what's significant about this part of the saga is the major allegations, basically, of essentially pedophilia, being with minors, basically being him likening Drake to Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein. And you know what? Once they bring out once they bring out Big Harv, you know the anchor baby's got to get in there, okay? Now you're talking about Weinstein. Now we're talking about Harvey Weinstein. And I know I got the no such thing as racism shirt. I'm working on it. Free Weinstein, free Harvey Weinstein, which may be a possibility. Now they're talking about Weinstein here. And I got a thing to say about that, okay? Justice for Weinstein, man. I got a thing or two to say about that. You understand what's happening here? It's like they depend on each other. They're doing rap records. The world is stale. They used to kill each other. The police stamped down on rap, and it's like, okay, now we don't even have violence. What do we? I guess we're not. What's our identity? I know I'm just saying stuff here, but listen to me. Listen where I'm going with this. Drake comes around, massive success, all boats rise. I don't know if people like Kendrick, etc. Maybe that's too far to say for an anchor baby. What the heck do I know about that specifically? If Kendrick would have been big or not. But you got to understand, all boats rise. They kind of depend on each other. And now this huge attack against, this huge takedown, to take down the king. And you see the two pictures painted, to take down the vapid, shallow king who isn't really into what he's into. He's just this or that. He doesn't even care about the music. He doesn't even make real music or whatever. And we could talk about the music, but I'm talking about this human nature, I guess, a little bit. And I got to say, the people who are like that, have you noticed? The activists, the ones who want to save the world, but hate maybe I'm going too far with hate, but judge and say, and look at the evil of the world and say, well, see, here's the problem. This is the problem. Those kinds of people, if you notice, they just want what the king has. They are just jealous of the king. And they're no different from the king. They're just like the world that they want to be king of. They are just like the world they want to be king of. And they hide behind the flaws of this king, so-called king. They hide behind their flaws and minimizing their own. They hate, blame, and victimhood for all the problems in their lives. And they put that out into the world. And do you understand what I'm saying here? This is Israel Hamas. What the heck makes Kendrick better than Drake? So he's the king. So he's the king at what you want to be king at? But you're saying that's evil? So you want to be the better at being evil than him? And here's what I'm trying to say. Look at what they're telling. Kendrick Lamar wants to be a race hustler. And amass an army to agree with him on things that you can't disagree on, right? Okay, so maybe he's vapid, maybe he's into shallow things, maybe sexual things, but that's like the world. You know, Kendrick Lamar's side is saying, not like us. These people are not like us. They're pedophiles and all that. When? Since when? Since when? The gangster, thug world, they have very close ties to prostitution and all that. And guess what? All that has very close ties to very young women entering that sexual world. Some of the young... So this is just from watching like DJ Vlad and maybe anecdotal stuff. But honestly, it seems like these black girls very commonly get into some very adult stuff quite young, quite easily. You know what I'm saying? So they're saying, not like us. Since when? They're saying, Kendrick's saying him and Weinstein should get effed up in a cell for the rest of their life. And this is the part that interested me. The beef is one thing, right? But I'm looking at the world and the public. And I'm looking at the part that's got everybody going nuts. And it's this. How do I explain this? How demoralized people have become. Because it was first, and this sounds like, oh, now I'm defending Drake. No, now I'm defending the world. No, you don't understand. I'm just pointing out that there are some who think that they're saints when it's all the world. Okay? And the world is so demoralized and stupid. Listen to this. The part that's got everybody turning on Drake, so to speak, in my opinion, is just the Weinstein stuff. Hooking him up with Epstein. Hooking him up with P. Diddy and weird sex things. And at first it was, why isn't he addressing the allegations? He must be guilty. He puts out he addresses them. Now, he's talking about them. He sounds guilty. I'm seeing all these women say all this stuff and men on Twitter going like, oh, yeah, no, I'm not with that. I'm not with that goofy stuff. Yeah, pedophilia? No. And I see the Weinstein connection, and that's all it takes. Do you understand what I'm saying here? It's almost like this is a perfect storm. Hamas, a.k.a. Kendrick, Future, we don't trust you, those people. Hamas gathered their arms and saw the perfect storm. We can paint him out to be a colonizer. He even calls Drake a colonizer. Tells him he can't use the N-word anymore. It's like, who wants to be a race hustler now, huh? Kendrick wants to be a race hustler, telling people who can use the N-word or not. And he's got all these dumb, brainwashed, so-called, gangsters, thugs? Who are you people? Men? Going like, yeah, Kendrick, he can't say the N-word no more. He's not black enough. And you think that's manly and that makes sense. And that makes sense. You're telling me Kendrick's got you like this. Kendrick's your Al Sharpton and you're stupid enough to follow another man. That's how easy it is. Although my friend said an interesting point. He likes that he likes the light skins being pushed out of this. They're trying to appropriate this culture. They're mixed. They're not black. It's an interesting take. But you see, it's you gotta be a girly, mama spirited, nasty kind of person, gossipy, bitchy female. I'm sorry, I've been ruined by JLP. I know the sun is up. You gotta be a gossipy female like your mama to be like lover boy, more like pedophile. Yeah, he's a pedophile. Gross. Just going along with like how do I put this? With women, man. Here's how I know. Here's how I can add to what I'm saying. You know, Kendrick, he's quite descriptive in his lyrics. And where does he say this? He talks about mother. Mother, I sober. His 8th track on disc 2 of Kendrick Lamar's 5th and final studio album. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I remember listening to Good Kid, Mad City. That was when I was like in high school or whatever, I forget. I was like, dang, this is sick. I just thought it was sick. It was cool. Over the years, I thought, I mean, you're clearly a lyrical, spiritual. Dang, Kendrick, you're clearly so lyrical, spiritual. But if I must have not even known it back then, but it felt a little bit like blame, hate, and victimhood. So I was like, cool, Kendrick. The going through the struggle kind of vibe from rap that I used to kind of hypnotize me back then turned into that. It started kind of becoming that, or taking on a different flavor. It used to have this like perseverance, this struggle. I used to see it differently. It started quickly becoming hate, blame, and victimhood. Oh, this is hate, blame, and victimhood. And so I didn't quite find it so interesting. And that's what all of music is kind of putting out, you understand? But this is the Saint. And this sounds like I'm Team Drake or something. I'm speaking just independently here. Look. This is supposed to be conscious, but he's keeping the people. He wants to keep people asleep. He hates black people. Kendrick, clearly. I'm not saying Drake loves black people, but he clearly hates them. Just like the Hamas people and Palestinians, the Palestinians, they hate their children. I see these videos, and it's this like young Palestinian girl. She looks like she's like 5 or 4. This is the land. Something about this land, and I will die and kill for this land. And maybe there's videos of Jewish kids or whatever. If you wanted to be fair here or something. Anyways, look, I'm just seeing that. I'm thinking, I don't know. You might think, oh, that's a young person caring about their nation and all that, but that's your nation, not the land. It's like the people. Imagine being so angry about a fight that your parents told you about and wanting to die for soil. You understand what I'm saying here? Like, there's a time to fight for land. It's your land, but this is just how I see it. It's just how I see it. Imagine being that young and being lied to, telling you that Palestine, whatever that may be, is this dirt. It's the people, etc. Look, Israel, Hamas, where was I? Mother, I Sober, a song by Kendrick. He talks about his mother. I find it fascinating. And what did I want to say about it? It opens up like this. I'm sensitive. I feel everything. I feel everybody. One man standing on 2 words. Heal everybody. Transformation, then reciprocation. Karma must return. Heal myself. Secrets that I hide. Buried in these words. Death threats. Ego must die, but I let it purge. I mean, right? It's maybe unclear, but wow, something about it sounds captivating. Ego must die. Seems like he's going through a lot. And it's an interesting opening. No, I'm sensitive. I feel everything. My mother's mother followed me for years in the afterlife. He says, shadows clinging to my soul as my only critic. I wonder, Kendrick, how, what he know, does he know what he's saying? Does he know what is holding, what is this dark shadow clinging to all souls as their only critic? I wonder, Kendrick, do you know? Because he says in these songs he's a Christian. And that, and he makes this allusion to God and being enlightened versus this non-enlightened world. But he talks about in the same song, Mother I Sober, where he's talking about that, sobriety. He says, I was never high, never drunk, never out of my mind. I need control. They handed me the smoke, but I still declined. I did it sober, sitting with myself, went through all emotions. Like, wow. But he admits he had one thing that he kept him intoxicated. A lustful nature, he says. He fails to mention insecurity, sleeping with other women, he says. He mentions his fiancée by name in the song. Very personal stuff he puts out in music. I mean, say what you will, right? I don't know if you should put your personal stuff out there, Kendrick. Look at how they're doing you. But look at how I'm doing you. Talking about your stuff on the air. But I wanted to bring that up because that's how, like, all people who feel like justified in their side, and this could be people on the Israel side, Hamas side, any side they take, they love to say what they didn't do and what the other side is. He does admit his lustful nature, that one thing, but I wonder if Kendrick and all people know don't you see that that's what makes you exactly like him? Don't you see that you're exactly the same? You're no different. You're like, oh, pedophile. You're like messing out with minors. What kind of song is Drake gonna make? A minor or something like that. And you're just as nasty. You understand? Just as nasty. So it's just crazy. It's crazy, and it's so fitting that he would choose Weinstein lyrics and all that. Is there some sordid things going on with Drake? Maybe. Possibly. I bet you a lot of those women are willing participants. Is there really sordid things? Criminally sordid things? I don't know. Let the law handle that, huh? They're making these allegations in songs. Let's wait till it becomes real in law, right? So you make your poems all you like. So that's just kind of how I feel about it, because this is Israel Hamas, October 7th. Don't you see? Jealous people who think they're saints, justified because they're oppressed somehow. Oppressed. And yeah, they could point out to various things of this king. They may disagree with how they got there, how they became king of the hill. They disagree. You don't deserve it. They say Drake doesn't deserve it. They say Israel doesn't deserve it. And you may have you can fight that tired old fight as long as you want. Sure, fine. I call it tired. That's my opinion. You can fight that all day. Nakba, blah, blah, blah. Sure. So I'm bringing up the undue use of influence, the bad faith that maybe the king maybe has accrued over years. Bad faith by not acting as a good player, as a trustworthy fellow. And these are just things I hear, allegations. These are just things I hear about the kings, so to speak. They say that they've accrued a lot of bad faith over the years, and they're not exactly a good player. But you know what? I'm not here saying that. I'm saying that this is just the latest chapter in Satan's game of anger and judgment and hate, blame, and victimhood to get people going and fighting. Look, you even got the young people who are like they get what's going on. They want to get better themselves. They want to work on themselves. They see that they're weak. They see they're weak to women. They see the simp world. They see everyone's a beta male. And some of them seeing all that has brought them to look at themselves and be like, what's wrong with me? And, you know, even amongst them, there's distractions. You got to get mad. You got to hate. You got to hate the Jews and all this. You got to hate this or that person. And we could talk about facts. Okay, censorship has been a problem. You guys know me. Look at what they've done. Look at what they've done to the conversation. It's like we can't even talk. Twitter, Nick Fuentes finally being put back on Twitter, etc. You get it. But freaking, yeah, that self-work, which is the only way to fix the world. The only way to make the world a better place, okay? So that's kind of what I was thinking about. Israel, Hamas with the Drake, Kendrick stuff. And really putting on display how shallow everybody is. And how they actually do have a Israel-Hamas take, even though they're staying out of politics. They're either siding with they're calling Drake a colonizer. And they got you taking sides. So what else did I want to say about this? Because I mentioned the distraction from the self-work and how important it is. And like I alluded to, there's a lot of men seeing the world simps. It's weakness, war, people being put in jail for emotions, the rule of law, honesty, honor, merit, basic things, mathematics and self and genetics itself, women and men, what's a man, what's a woman, all being challenged. And all of that has caused some men to look at themselves and want to be better and want to grow. They want to grow. They sense that there's a truth to that they can grow maybe. If only they knew how, if only they had the right thing, idea, class, whatever. They come up with a lot of conclusions, but they're thinking about it at least. Some even joined groups, men's groups, boys groups, the Boy Scouts. I mentioned this yesterday. Boy Scouts, changing its name to Scouting America. I saw Elijah Schaefer meme about this, make a little meme. It's called A Little Trolling. And he said, well, they have to change their name further. Scouting America is still not quite inclusive enough. You know, America, I don't know why you're leaving the global community out. Scouting America. 888-775-3773 if you want to jump on the line. Top most important wars right now. Drake versus Lamar, Israel versus Hamas. Joe versus Mark. I got to say, Joe versus Mark does take precedence over Russia or Ukraine. Russia, Ukraine is old news. Who cares, Zelensky? Okay, you got your Patriot missiles. No more. No more. The Donbass is Putin's. Bye. Bye, Donbass. Bye. Say goodbye. Oh, those are Russians now. Those are Russians now, Zelensky. Sorry. Yeah, I gotta say that definitely takes precedence. The world is on the edge of their seats on that one. People are yawning over Russia, Ukraine. They can't even pass the money. They passed all the bills. They got it to Israel. They got it to Taiwan, and we're gonna get into it here. For those who care about some real news, if we get to it later. Just a little thing. What's Mike Johnson up to? But we might be able to get into that. What else here before we can move on about the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts? Who is a Boy Scout? Where are my Boy Scouts at? Where are the Eagle Scouts at? Where you at? Where the Scouts at? Scouts Honor. What's that mean? But yeah, they're changing the name. Let them all in. I heard from Hake that they went from like 2 million not too long ago to 1 million. Like half of all the members gone. And that's down from like 4 million before that. You got to wonder something here. This is just the anchor baby thinking about the world. If I was playing SimCity with the world, if I was playing Business Tycoon, you know, it's like Roller Coaster Tycoon. If I was playing Organization Tycoon, and there was a huge, what do you call it? Exodus of members of my organization. And I'm like, I need publicity, attention, and let's say I sold it maybe, and now it's a new tycoon. And this tycoon doesn't have the same kind of, positive intentions, possibly even Christian intentions. This new tycoon might have very unchristian intentions. Well, what better than to jump in on a beef? What better than to start a war to get attention? Think about it. What this needs, baby, honey, what this tree needs is the blood of a war to give it new life. And what beef should we get in? Well, but of course, the patriarchy and the misogyny and the women and Weinstein. But of course. Now, what should I purchase? The Boy Scouts of America. Now, that's a name that I would like to change and subvert. If I was like some kind of like, I don't know, shrewd business type person who saw opportunities where others didn't. Okay? Boy Scouts. I was a Cub Scout. Shout out to the Cub Scouts. You know, my mom put me in Cub Scouts. I hated it growing up. It's funny to think about that, looking back. Shout out to my ma. And look, fellas, young guys listening to me, I get to talk about this with some maturity and some foresight. Don't go around just making conclusions and talking about your mom to everybody, okay, and telling them all your problems, okay? I get to do this with some maturity and insight, etc., okay? So my mommy, okay, my mother put me in Cub Scouts. It's funny to think about that because she must have seen something. Do you understand? I know her a little bit. She must have seen maybe something deficient, a lack of community, friends, manhood, happenstance. What does that mean? Or something else. Isn't that interesting maybe to consider? How maybe a lot of parents feel, a lot of mothers feel. They're not blind. They're blind, yet they're not blind. You understand? They're blind because they don't know. They can't see what to do, what's really happening. But something's going on. At least some do, right? But I hated it. I didn't want to go. I just didn't want to go. I was not the type of person to be... this was quite young. This was I forget how old was I? Cub Scouts. It's before kindergarten. Or it's like kindergarten and right before that. These are the Cub Scouts. I just didn't want to put on the whole uniform. There's a whole thing. You got to do this whole thing. You got to show up and da-da-da. And really what it was is the fear I felt. That's what it was. I had fear of dealing with life, dealing with new people and experiences and stuff. I'm like, whatever. Who cares about these people? Who cares? And so I earned no merit badges. I earned no badges, kept to myself, and just, you know, Sigma male. Okay. If I remember correctly, I earned one badge. I did earn one badge. I remember I played, I think it was Piano Man on the piano. It was either Piano Man or, I played a couple songs on the piano. I remember all the way through, and they were like, wow, Nick, that's amazing. They gave me a little badge, if I remember correctly. So I did earn something, even in my lone wolf ways, off on my own. But that was my experience with Cub Scouts. Looking back, I did grow. So shout out, Ma. I did grow, facing things. Do you understand? I did actually grow. Not Piano Man. It was maybe something else. I think it was the one that goes, Ba-da-da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. Da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-dum, bum. That's the one I played. So where was I? I'm trying to describe this relationship of trying to teach your kids something, a mother trying to teach their son something they may be missing. And then I'll get to calls here, 888-775-3773. I'll get to calls right after this. A mother trying to teach that. I'm trying to describe that relationship. The faltering, and despite the attempts, because not all mothers are these outwardly mean and I don't know, inattentive and showing outward anger. Many are very sweet. Many are very so many don't understand the message we're talking about here. I bond sometimes when I talk about what I've learned about my life and women and mothers and where hell comes from, etc. So I'm trying to describe this picture, okay? And it has to do with the thugs from Compton and all that. So you understand that relationship, trying to put me in Cub Scouts and all that. Yet growing, because the only thing that was holding me back was fear and not dealing with life. That's the only thing, right? Not just dealing with life, despite pain, okay? And that was something my mother didn't understand, what women and mothers don't understand. And really the world doesn't, especially the world I grew up in. They don't quite understand that kind of simple fact because they themselves have fear, okay? So they can only really put out what they are. So, Cub Scouts. What else did I want to say about this? It's funny. I did grow. I ended up a couple years later. My mom put me in this program. It was called Morelands, and Morelands was awesome. Morelands was sick because we left and we were gone for like 3 weeks in the summer, and we were. It was true. It was like it felt like independence. It felt like, wow. I gotta fend for myself here a little bit. We go off on a bus trip 3 hours away into Muskoka, Canada. Then we take a little boat ride into this peninsula, this kind of island, into Morelands. And we were solo. We had our camp leaders, our cabins, but we were separated, girls and boys. And I was amazed. I thought it was great. I remember I became like the leader of the cabin. I became like they like designated me for some reason. And it was embarrassing. I remember it being embarrassing. I won a jersey over that. I remember one night we were talking about girls. And we were all in the cabin. It was the 2 cabin leaders kind of away. And it was all the boys on the bunk beds. And we were talking about girls. We had never touched girls or been with girls. We were lying. We were just lying to each other. The lights were off. It was dead night. We were all supposed to be asleep. We were like, hey man, are you still asleep? And we were lying to each other. I know we had to be lying. I know I was. We were mad lying to each other about girls. And then our counselor, Ninja, he's like, guys, shut up. What the hell are you guys talking about? Confronting life. Anyways, what am I saying here? All this to say, there's an amazing thing happening here with men and manhood and confronting life. It's being taken away, and the women don't know what's coming. They're pawns in this whole game too, and it's all a game. They're pawn in this big joke being played on us because it's not even women who win. Oh, women gonna get their way, and it's the matriarchy, and the patriarchy is going down. They actually don't get their way either. The rapes go up, the crimes go up. There are more bears out there, ladies. Thank you. You think you know the bears. They're talking about the bears meeting a man or a bear in the woods. You think you know the bears. You think the bears are the nice guys. The bears are the ones who are like, yeah, totally, ma'am. Yeah, I totally understand why you wouldn't want to meet a man in the woods because men are just the way they are and blah, blah, blah. Those are the bears, ladies. You don't even get it. And it's bad out here. Every woman I've ever dated in my life, has been turned from her father, and they don't even know it. And I didn't know it. I didn't always know it. But everyone, this anecdotal, fine, Anchor Baby's anecdotal, but I'm just telling you life as I see it. Every woman I've ever dated has been turned away from her father. She has fear. She tries to please, is afraid of losing the man, etc. It's bad out here. There's nobody who has love for women. And this militant, we're going to take out boy and make it Scouting America and be inclusive is not love, ladies. They don't love you. They're using you. It's bad out here for the ladies. And that's why I talk like this, because, I see all that. And I don't see tough women. I don't see strong men, and I don't see strong men who are competent in their lives, competent in what they do, and solid alone. I don't see women who are happy and strong. I see a lot of scared people, actually. So that's why we talk about the things we talk about here. Okay, appreciate it. Let's get to calls. 888-775-3773. Let's get to it. Nick thinks nobody else got girls because he didn't. Dang, I mean, you don't have to go that hard against me. Everything is fake, man. You don't have to be doing that. But I think I must have been in the 6th grade, and everybody in that cabin was in the 6th grade, or something like that. Sean, I'm sorry, I'm just reading your message right now. Who's Sean? Who's been tainted in the mind? You or I? I shan't repeat it. Let's get to calls. Brian out of North Carolina. Appreciate it, sir. You're on the air.
Nick, you're on one today, man.
I'm on one, man. I think it's Coca-Cola, so we appreciate the makers of Coca-Cola. They say I'm on natural energy. Not always.
Right on. I like the anecdotal anchor baby. We should hold on to that one. That's
nice.
That's first-hand experience right there.
Nice.
Man, you know what? I called in to talk about the Kendrick and Drake thing, but just real quick,
Please.
You were talking about growing, and something I noticed since I really started growing. You know what I'm saying? Is that sometimes I feel smaller, but then I realize it's not that I'm smaller, it's just my view got bigger, so everything looks bigger.
Can you give me an example of what you mean?
Yeah, I used to feel, before I forgave and before I started really focusing on myself and overcoming, I used to kind of walk around feeling large, as in my presence or from my vision, I felt large. I felt big. I felt, I felt a lot of things for one.
Mm-hmm,
but now I noticed that now I just, my presence seems less significant, or maybe just seems more insignificant, but everything else seems larger. I'm mainly thinking about when I'm on the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I see the golf course very differently now. But that was just something that just crossed my mind.
Perspective.
But as far as the Kendrick and Drake thing, you that's a good analogy with the Hamas. It is Hamas and Israel.
Yep, October 7th, man. Big time, man.
October 7th, is that what you said?
That was We Don't Trust You. When they released We Don't Trust You, March, that was October 7th. That was the Hamas October 7th in that world.
They kicked it off. It's funny, though, because it hits on so many levels, down to the fact that it seems like Kendrick Lamar is pulling a Joe Biden on the black people.
Ooh.
And saying you're not black if you're on Drake's side.
He wants to be the race hustler. That's
right.
So true.
Because everybody and their mama, everybody, like you said now, Drake's a household name.
Right.
That's just plain and simple. If they're talking about who's the best rapper, but I like that was just one thing I saw.
They want to say he doesn't deserve that he got it in the wrong way, that He wouldn't have. This wasn't natural. He has connections. It's, you know what I mean. It's because people. He owns the industry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then you said
Israel
he's
Hamas,
the king of this. Like they're referring to him as the king of it, but then Kendrick's acting like he wants to be the king of it. So you want to be the king of all the messy stuff that you just said?
Bingo. So you guys are fighting
It's
over
really
a pile of trash, and I'm supposed to be
Correct.
like, you're a saint.
But as far as the bars are concerned, and the entertainment value that is being brought by both sides, because it's pretty entertaining. I'm not gonna
Next
lie.
level. They've put out the best stuff ever, and this is what made me realize they were holding all this stuff. They were amassing arms all this time. But I cut you off, sir.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. Maybe Kendrick, but Drake is destroying him right now in all that.
Yeah. Maybe Kendrick.
As far as I can see. You said what?
Yeah, I'm following what you're saying. Yeah, maybe Kendrick. But he had to. You understand? Israel. I mean, Drake already got their state and already established and just keeps growing. Of course, Kendrick had to do something crazy here to shake up the world stage here. He had no choice. He couldn't do it he couldn't do it with let's call it playing by the rule book, so to speak. He had to go guerrilla. He had to go
guerrilla warfare.
He had to hit him with the Scud missiles and get past the Iron Dome here. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
And the only way through the Iron Dome is with pedophile crap. No evidence. And that's
zero evidence.
That's crazy. That's evil.
So what is that? So the next question is, I think was like something you asked early on, was what is real power? Is this real power?
Yeah.
What is real power?
What is real power? That's not a sentence.
Have you? Was that the biblical question?
What is real power? No, I'm just messing around. What is real power? Because it sounded like Israel. Obvious joke. Okay, what is real power? Are you asking me? That is the biblical question.
I am asking you.
Saying no to being able to say no to a woman. and call. I remember the first time. I actually clearly remember the first time I had this girlfriend at the time, and total, like, how do I put it? Total sweetheart. Like, sweetheart, sure, I guess. Loves me, like, totally loves me. But how do I put it? Was actually really nasty. She'd be like judgmental to everybody around her, really nasty. And then I didn't realize that she was doing that to me too. And one time I said, "Wow, you're being nasty," and I saw a side of her I'd never seen before in my life. I was like, "This is the same sweetheart girlfriend that I was like saying I love you with all those inside jokes a moment ago," and I was like, "Wow, you're being nasty." And she started calling me all sorts of things. She called me things that she never called me before, and I was like, "Holy crap, Jesse's right." and so I stood my ground. I was like, "You are being a nasty itch. Like, you are," and she's like, "Oh, I can't believe you call me that." I'm like, no. That is what you are acting like right now. And I'm like, wow, I'm being factually correct. I feel nothing. I'm not trying to get at her. I'm not trying to say that she is one. I'm just saying that she's acting like one right now. And so I stood out, and she apologized the next day. And I'm like, dang, this is real power.
Amazing. You felt the power.
I'm playing around a little bit. But
you're playing around, but that's
there's something to that.
That actually coincides with what I believe what real power is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
With awareness. Plain and simple. Even the example you just gave, you described a point to where you were unaware of something this whole time, and in one moment where you had a moment of awareness, and bingo, everything happened.
Yep. I like that, man. Well, I guess we'll hear Jesse's 2 cents, huh?
I know. I'm waiting on it too, man. Don't worry.
Yes, sir.
But all right, Nick, that's all I got, man.
Right on, sir. Anything else you want? Well, you say all you got. Well, call me again. As always, pleasure.
Pleasure. I wish you well.
Take care, sir. 888-775-3773. Amazing. It's a war zone. We are living in a war zone. Someone said I said that like a Jamaican or like a Nigerian. I don't really quite sound like Yoko Ono when I'm saying that. We are living in a war zone. in a war zone, you will, if you do not get the respect you deserve, you will take it by shedding their blood. Repeat after me. Shed their blood. Blood Diamond. Moreland's, this is Moreland's camp all over again. Nick just making up stories about girls. Stop it. She went to another school. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay? She went to another school. Okay, you never met her. That doesn't mean she's not real. You're just such bullies. Justin out of Fullerton, California. You're on the air. Appreciate it, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, Nick.
How you doing, sir?
All right. I was just intrigued about your comments about the Cub Scouts and Boy
You sound
Scouts.
a little muffled for us, Jaime. Can you come back to your phone?
Oh,
I mean
can you hear
Justin,
me
not
better
Jaime,
now?
not Jaime. Justin, how you doing, sir?
Hi, this is Justin. Can you hear me?
Much clearer. Appreciate that. You sounded
All
Hispanic almost. I'm like, Jaime. My bad.
Hi, it's me.
Ignore my
You call me Jaime.
derailing, please. Go on.
All right. So I was just going to call in about the commenting on the Cub Scouts. It seems like a lot of people are getting a different experience now that it's calling, itself Scouting of America.
Yes. They're saying.
So how I think about it is it's essential for boys that maybe don't have an example at home. I know with my two boys, when they came out to Cub Scouts, it was all right, but when it got into Boy Scouts, it just seemed to be, like they had girls around, and at the same time, there was allegations about the Scouts on their camping trips being like I don't know what the evidence is, but like there's a lot of accusations about them being maybe impure with kids. And I just came to learn that, like somebody who was a previous Boy Scout could become a counselor and then go camping with them. So you'd have 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds out there camping. And, unless you're out there always involved, you don't know who your kids are camping with. So for me, I had a lot of work. I couldn't really be there. And I provided, I thought, more of a male kind of example for them, and I still think I do, but not always out camping per se, but giving them tasks and chores and feelings of accomplishments, things that they have to get done. And that's mainly what they kind of had at Cub Scouts, building like an electronic car out of wood, and racing it or whatever. But
it was fun.
with me, when I
had
was
my
in the Cub
first
Scouts,
I had my first snowball fight at Cub Scouts. First time I got to Canada. And I'm like, no way,
Oh,
I
yeah?
heard about these. I seen this in the cartoons and stuff. This is going to be awesome. And I got my first snowball to the face, and I'm like, holy crap, this stuff is ice. And I was bleeding. And I was like, dang. And when I look back, if I could animate that moment in my life, I'd be like, I'd put all these kids throwing snowballs at the new kid and like, welcome to Canada. Welcome to Canada, American. Anyways.
I was in Indiana. So when I grew up, I think we were a little bit more wild. I don't know, what state did you go to the Boy Scouts?
No, they had Cub Scouts in Canada, and that's where I did it. I did Cub Scouts in Canada, but they have Boy Scouts Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for us out here, I was in Indiana, and the whole ice thing was something that people did, but we also we were bad. We took rocks and we wrapped it with snow, and we threw that. So a lot of people were getting hurt. Bleeding. Yeah.
Dang, rocks in the snow? You guys are killers.
Yep. It was like war.
What's wrong with you?
It's like Lord of the Flies. Whoever has the bigger rock.
What happened to a good old ice snowball fight? Why you got to put rocks in there?
Black rocks, like black ice. Be careful. Yeah.
We got black rocks. Okay, sorry.
So sometimes that kind of stuff happens. And anyways, my mom was a single mom, and I think she put me into that. Because of the male influence it gives. But when I came out to California, I didn't really see a need. I didn't kind of progress with it. But I learned what I needed to. And my mom was a single parent because, not because of choice, but because of my dad's alcoholism. So there's always consequences for male figures that aren't there. So I just try to be the best example for my kids.
Okay, so all this to say,
there is a benefit for the Boy Scouts. I think it mainly helps single women, and I can see definitely why the girls are joining the Boy Scouts. They don't have their own identity, and therefore the boys don't have their own identity either because of this, so it's like a conglomeration of children without identities and broken homes.
but I feel like that's not even, I feel like that's a very, it's just like a shallow take. What I'm trying to say here is that it doesn't sound like you're even talking about Boy Scouts. It sounds like you're saying, here's what I'm trying to say in a nutshell. Boy Scouts started 114 years ago, no? So it wasn't always single moms.
Yeah, it wasn't
it wasn't always single
Not here
moms. And that single moms are, I think, a better or more accurate way of painting what you're saying is what I'm trying to say here. Is that the single mom relationship you're describing now is really just poetic. It's just kind of a exemplify. It demonstrates what's going on today, because Boy Scouts has been around for like 100 years. It wasn't always single parents, and this you were also alluding to some like maybe pedophile stuff. I mean, yeah, there's some nasty things. Look, the people who want to go after kids will go to where the kids are. So I don't know what to, you know what I mean? Like that's why when they say this about boys organizations in the church and schools and teachers, that's where if you want to go for kids, guess where you're gonna go? You're gonna go where the kids are. It's not. It's the people, right? And I gotta that's got to be a more modern thing or something. Like I was saying about the bears earlier, what women don't realize is the bear, the raper, the child molester is not the tough masculine guy. It's the weak one, right? And so this falling of identity, which sounds like might be a positive thing for girls, is what you're saying. What people are not realizing, and why there's some pushback against this, is what I'm talking about. Is you're getting rid of that very protection, that criticism that you may have of the Boy Scouts and pedophiles, and I don't know, you're just out there in the woods with some guy, and the parents aren't around. It's that. Where does that come from? That comes from the women, and what is exacerbating that in the first place? It's these women who want more weak men. So I'd be careful with all that, you know.
Reevaluate, yeah, because when it came to America from England, it had a certain mission statement and a certain kind of a history that it developed. But over time, the history we have today, the current history, it doesn't look that positive now for parents to put their kids and boys into that. Girls, I think.
Come back to your phone, sir. Come back to you. Went crazy muffled now. Oh, did we lose you? He was super muffled there. It was almost, we couldn't understand you, Justin. But I guess it's fine it sounds like you were maybe done, but if you want to call back and finish up your point there, you're more than welcome to. Not sure what happened there. But yeah, Cub Scouts, it sounds like he was saying it has its place, and it's changed. It sounds like that's what he was saying, that it has its place in positives, but it has changed. And that sounds like what you were saying, sir. That sounds like all you were saying, and I appreciate your call. Every woman I've ever dated has been turned from her father. First Jaime, now Justin. All these clicks. Okay, so where were we? What were we doing now? What shall we do now? It's a war zone. We are living in a war zone. 888-775-3773. If you want to jump on the line. Did you guys catch the hate report today? Yeah, I'm laughing because he mentioned an article. I feel like we both came. It's funny that we both came across this article, and I know I did because, well, really, I'm biting hake. If anything, I'm a hake biter. I'm a hake biter, checking out the skim and all that. But the ladies at the skim got their finger on the pulse of America a little bit, and in a strange way, in a very feminine and blind, but hey. They put out this article. They shared this article from People Magazine or People.com that Hake responded to. I laughed because I feel like we both felt the same thing. Probably like this is something I have something to say about this as I'm reading this. This is not hard hitting news or anything. and I really won't say much. Definitely check out the Hake Report. I concur, sir. I absolutely concur. So check out the Hake Report, thehakereport.com. But can I just add to this? Can I just add to the reporting of this? Woman refuses to go on girls' trip. Says she doesn't want to talk about marriage and babies for 3 days. She's like, oh, I don't want to go on this trip, and because I just know what my friends are going to talk about. They're just going to talk about marriage and babies for 3 days. Okay, bitter woman. It's like people talk about stuff all the time. Why is that bothering you? What's so unstable about you? You cannot just be stable in all things, even if people are talking about things you don't like. What's making you so uncomfortable about it? What do you feel so judged about? Let the ladies talk about the babies. Maybe you just don't even want to go. Are you just using this as an excuse? Every girl I know just has an excuse when they just don't want to do something. You know you don't need an excuse, right? Did you know that, ladies? Did you know that? Oh, should I go? Hey, should I go hang out with this person? No. No. Do you just not want to go? But anyways, woman refuses to go on this girl trip. Sounds bitter, etc. I just wanted to make this comment, though. In Joel and I's America, when we enact the future tribunal that's coming, because I get it, you guys don't want to put the parents in jail. I personally don't. I don't think what's going on now is about justice and about actually making good parents. It's just militant crap trying to take your rights away. But I'm open to a future tribunal in a Christian society. And in the future of America, where Joel and I's America, Virginia 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. Sorry. I'm sorry, miss. I'm going to need you to drop your things. Yep, you can just go ahead and drop your things. I'm going to need you to put your hands behind your back. Yep. What's going on? What's going on? You're under arrest. But what did I do wrong? I didn't do anything. I didn't do nothing. Well, all that will be explained to you in jail. You are going to jail. You will be processed. But don't I get a phone call? Don't I get to tell someone? You get to do that after you're in an orange jumpsuit and we've taken all your stuff and we've processed you. But until then, you are going to jail. Virginia 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. I'd put women who are putting out articles like this, it should be a criminal. This should be a crime. This should be a crime. Why is this an article? Why is this ever an article? Why is this an article at all? I have a lot going on, but I feel a lot of my friends do not show an interest unless I talk. So there was some conversation on Reddit. This one woman said, I don't want to go on vacation because all my girlfriends are just going to talk about marriage. And I don't need to do that. I'm happy and I'm single. I'm 27 or something. I'm 27 and I'm happy and I'm single and I'm anonymous, apparently. And I'm content, okay? And the world wants me to have children. And they're so pushy. And the world has got problems. And the world. And they better change, not me. Why is this an article? What are you telling the world, Virginia 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔? What are you you're doing some of this. You're valid. No, Virginia, not everyone's voice is valid. And if you boost someone's invalid voice and their invalid voice that you boost, its motivation is hate, blame, and victimhood. And what is hate, blame, and victimhood? What is it doing to all these women who are reading articles? You shouldn't be even worrying your pretty little heads. It's driving you crazy. You're miserable. You want to end society. You literally want to end society now. You think men are treating you so badly that you want to end society. You want to say we're not having babies anymore till we get with our way. I think this woman goes to jail in my America, in Joel and I's America. This woman's going to jail for putting out hate, blame, and victimhood, which equals death. And you guys want to talk about your silence is violence. Well, your words, your article and your words on Reddit are violence to America, the white race, and the progeny of all decent people. Huh? Or even just progeny. Oh, thanks, little Nick. Even just progeny itself. Anyways. Virginia Chamley. Is she afraid she's going to realize her empty life is totally unfulfilling? I don't know, Carver, but maybe that wouldn't be so bad. Okay. You don't need to keep up with the Joneses. You don't need to be the nurturing bringer of love and healer of all pain and wounds. You don't need to be the savior of life. You don't need to be the village that raises the kid, that stops the bigotry and the evils of the world. Ladies, run the world. We'll stop the wars. Please. It's falling apart. You're stressed out already. You can stop. You could quit this. You could quit that. You can stop this game. You could quit that. Okay? Let the boys have their Boy Scouts. Okay? You might learn something. Virginia Chamley getting clicks and traffic for People Magazine. I mean, that's one thing. You can't say anything about her. That's one thing you can't say about her is bad at her job, maybe. You're doing a good job, Virginia, in getting me to talk about this. I was a child progeny. Wait, what am I thinking? Progeny just means like descendants, right? You got me, Chris. You got me Googling. You got me. I was a child progeny. Yes, I think you were, Chris. You know what? I think I was too. What else? X account listed. Meet Virginia. Amazing. 888-775-3773. Nick stealing hate content. Unbelievable. It's funny. I had to comment on that. I just had to say something. Jail. Okay, that's good right there. Let's move on here. Let's check the super chats real quick. You could buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/anchorbaby. Let's just check this here real quick before we move on. Because what else do I have for you? I wanted to get into, there is some news. I guess there's a Trump in Congress. Dirty video woman. What a mess. What's up, Rumble? Thank you so much. Jules Verne. The Hake Report. Horrors of Cody. Old Saucy. Robert. Appreciate it, folks. Appreciate it. Rizzo. Thank you. Rizzo. Thank you. Rizzo. Thank you. That son of a... Okay, let's see what else here. Real quick. I handicapped Joel today without a mouse. And I'm feeling the pain here, man. I'm sorry. Bada bing. Bada boom. Jabrail, thank you so much. Appreciate the super chats there. Thank you. Jabrail NTP says the accent's got him laughing. Kale Samogi, thank you so much for the support. The accent, which one? Jabrail, the Côte d'Ivoire. Where's Blood Diamond set in? What's the setting for Blood Diamond? Oh, it's South Africa, of course. Civil War raging in 1990s Sierra Leone. Never mind. Sierra Leone. Diamonds from Sierra Leone. There's a rap moment for you. Who sang that? Who did that? Was that Kanye? Diamonds, Sierra Leone. What am I thinking of? That is Kanye, huh? Diamonds are forever. Okay. But yes, if you do not get the respect you deserve, you take it. Repeat after me. Shed they blood. Let's get to something else here. Vapid, okay. Here's another thing I didn't think I was going to comment on. Here's another thing I didn't think I'd need to maybe filibuster away some time with. Kim Kardashian, speaking of beef and gossip, I mean, if the anchor baby's going to go low, if the anchor baby's going to be low, Sierra Leone would be a great dirty video lady name. Yeah. Are there any creative dirty video lady names? Where's the creativity? Sierra Leone. You know, what's another dirty lady? Here's another dirty video lady name that has its place outside of dirty videos. Linda. Oh, Linda. Linda Lovelace. Ooh, I got some young fellas. I got some of my some of my audience members who were young teens in the 70s are suddenly perked up. They're suddenly listening. They're suddenly activated. Linda Lovelace, that's a name I haven't heard in some time. You're asking, why am I talking about it? American pornographic actress. Oops, pornographic, schmornographic. Later, she became an anti-schmornography activist. Ain't that rich? Ain't that rich? Mia Khalifa, you weren't the first one to do it. It's a tired old act. Okay, porn star when you're in your young years. Oh, I'm just doing my thing. Don't judge me for that. And then you get older and you're like, these young women, they just don't know what they're getting into. And it's just this evil man world who took these young flowers and abused them and lied to them. You knew what you wanted some of that, okay? You wanted some of the world, okay? And then they go out and become an anti-pornography activist. And it's never, this is where I went wrong. This is what society is wrong about. The women are willing participants in this nasty game where they're using the men's lust, and the lust are getting their willies. They're getting their thrills, never growing, getting better. The world gets worse. It's never that. No, these anti-pornography activists, it's these men in the world, they abuse this poor girl. Mia Khalifa, you're not the first one to do it, okay? I'm talking about Linda Lovelace. Why am I even mentioning her? This is a name not used outside of that world. I'm talking about the Lockheed Martin C5 Galaxy. Heck yeah. Yeah, boys. We're talking about cool stuff. Yeah, we're talking about planes and military gadgets. This is, I think, the second largest cargo plane in the entire world. Second to the Russian one, which can carry something like 200 tons. The Lockheed Martin C5 Galaxy can carry something around 150 tons of cargo. You can fit 4, I forget what tanks in there. You can fit a lot of stuff, okay? And it has a nickname in the military. The C5 Galaxy is lovingly called Linda Lovelace. Lovingly called Linda Lovelace for reasons I don't know if I can repeat. I don't know if I can really say why. But it has to, well, as you can see, the C5 Galaxy has the ability to open up in the front and in the back. And that is part of the reason why. It is a very capable machine. Capable of handling a lot. Handling much. Okay, we'll leave it at that. R.I.P. kids, you think? Yeah, maybe that was too far. Maybe that was too far. We're calibrating here, folks. We're calibrating the anchor baby. Let's dial it back, TARS. 888-775-3773. Yes. Kim Kardashian. big, all that to say. I'm talking about Kim Kardashian. Awkwardly holding a gray sweater around her chest. making a splash in the headlines, all for holding a little gray sweater. Now, what is the meaning? The fashion world wants to know. She was at the Met Gala, and she wore a dress, as they do at these things. Who are you wearing? Oh my God! But the sweater did not seem to go with her sparkly silver Maison Margiela gown. But there was reason for that, the diva told Vogue. What do you mean? What does it mean, Kim Kardashian? What does it mean? People magazine wants to know, the women of the skim. They want to know, what the heck is this sweater like that doing over a dress like that? She got a lot of attention over this corset business, too. They're saying that she must have removed some ribs or something. Allegations, I'm sure. Allegations. You may know this woman. Wife to Kanye West. They say ex-wife, but who are they? God? They think they're God? What are they? Who? They think they're Kanye? They say ex-wife. Who are you, the man who married this woman? What do you know? Kanye West's wife, mother of their children. And, it's like, oh, ridiculous articles about fashion. What does it mean? Why does she have a gray sweater? I get it. I may be just as vapid and shallow. That may be true. Don't judge me. But I'm like reading this headline. I'm like, what's Kim Kardashian up to? What the heck's she up to? Got some negative attention over to some Taylor Swift business. Because she was all affiliated with Kanye West at the time. Well, she was married to him, right? And when he put out a song, apparently, and about Taylor Swift, saying, I made that itch famous. I made that itch famous. And, apparently she agreed to that it was fine. They called Taylor Swift, and she was cool with it. So anyways, Kim K getting negative attention over that. Some even negative attention over Kanye West. You'd think they'd side with the woman, which I think many have. It's been kind of interesting to see some people side with the dad here. Like, dang, they're trying to keep his daughter away from him, and his daughter is just like him. She seems to love her dad a lot. These are things you may have noticed watching my show a little bit. But, okay, what's the gray sweater about? The odd look was inspired by the wildest night of my life in a garden, and I just ran out and grabbed my boyfriend's sweater and threw it on and had to get to work. And my hair's all messed up. This is a quote. This is a quote from this mother. And all this to say so that we can get to calls here. 888-775-3773. I see you on hold. And let's get right to the calls. Let's get to the point here. The power, on the topic of power, it's so phony and false. Female power, the power of the world is really the same. The power that Kendrick wants from Drake, by the way, is female power, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. But the power is phony. And so it's always so demonstrated so well in these tired old divorcees. They could even be on top of the world, commanding the lust of almost every man. They break the internet, they say. Remember when she broke the internet over and over again? I'm trying to describe how shallow and flimsy that power is. And its power is only there from the weakness of men. And it's demonstrated like this. Look, it's every time I always hear about some ex-wife or divorcee or ex of this powerful, rich, famous, well-connected man. I'm thinking Tom Brady. I'm thinking Kim Kardashian. I'm thinking it's almost every time the story is these women go out and do something like this. It's always connected to sexuality. It's always connected to still being hot. Look, I'm walking with this new guy. Look at this spicy thing I said in this interview. Oh my gosh, she was seen with this guy. It's always something to do with that. And it's like, ladies, You really think that's power? I get it. The world has told you it's power. You see all the men, horn dogs, lie, change up their personality, change up their values over it, and you think it's real power. But all I see is I see a sad, desperate woman who's a mother, who's putting on this corset and telling the world, yeah, this gray sweater. Think about how ridiculous of a person you have to be to bring a sweater, also that they could take a picture of you so that you could tell the story about this time you had this wild sex with this boyfriend. Oh my God, I'm such a wild spirit. I'm such a wanderlust wild spirit. You're a grown woman. You're a mother, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. This is sad. Time to age gracefully, don't you think? And to continue this, to end this vapid shallow segment, because I too may be vapid and shallow. You go through the timeline of her breaking the internet, and I realize, dang, you look garish, you look strange, you look, where is it? Daily Mail has it here somewhere. You look strange, you look like a cartoon character, you look, where did they put it? This timeline. Kim Kardashian, like, this is the avatar for women. They all got the same stack. They all want to look the same. This is their avatar. Where is it? Anyways, it's not important. Let's get to calls. Power. Who's got the power? Who has the power? Let's get to calls. We got Ron, Baltimore, Maryland. How you doing, sir? Is this your first time calling?
This is my second time calling you.
Oh, yeah, I recognize you. How you doing, Ron? Welcome back.
I'm doing all right. I got a joke for you, right?
Hit me.
All right, now you're going to need your Google Maps for this one, and you're going to need to go back to about 1920. But you know why?
Google
the
Maps
LGBT
is up.
People,
I got Google Maps is up, ready.
All right, now you know why LGBT people want to free Palestine?
No, I'm not quite sure.
Because they want to trans Jordan.
Trans Jordan? You got him.
It's not funny, it's intellectual. So it's
it
not
truly is. I'm definitely hamming it up. I'm definitely hamming it up, Ron, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
and I was thinking about your concept with the Boy Scouts and everything, and
yes.
I really think that you guys are head on where it's like, I think honestly, let me go back. I think honestly, feminism today now is jealousy. I think that women want to disrespect the power of a woman and have the power of a man. Everybody wants a title, but they don't want to do the job going down the line like that. And it's really something like today I did some deliveries and I was talking to a lady and she just was so nasty to me. And I was asking her to do her job. And she just had this attitude. I had to stop her. I had to tell her, I'm not trying to hear that right now. We don't need to be in conflict. I just need the information. If you cannot give it to me, I'll walk off. And she was like heated at me. She gave me the information I needed. I walked off. When I came back, it was people in the lobby of the building telling me that she was running around looking for me. Because she said she wanted to tell me something. And I was just like, yeah, when you evil, you evil.
And it's like, it really is. It's a wartime out here, man. That's why we got to overcome the war within, because it is really like a wartime. People taking things personal. It's just business. Mm-hmm. You're trying to get milk at the corner store, and it's Israel Hamas.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. And that's why I was thinking that Kendrick and Drake thing, to me, is so perfect, because I think an alien would think we were crazy to look at us from the outside in. Because he's looking at us like we're the same, like we would look at a sack of cows or something.
Yes.
Like, all these cows are the same, but this cow don't like that one. We don't get it.
So true. That's a good way of putting it, man. That's a good way of putting it. Like, all these wars, even the world wars, it's this implosion of the West. Kendrick Lamar, Drake, blacks. Oh man, it's brother wars. It's brother wars.
It is, and we are so far in technology. I mean, almost just 20 years ago when me and you were, well, I'm a little older than you, but when me and you were little kids, things people died from is nothing. Like, you don't hear anybody die from asthma and stuff like that. When I was a kid, people died from asthma and little fevers. They were still taking kids out on a regular basis. Matter of fact, I got a good one. We don't talk about is SIDS, sudden infant death. You don't hear no one talk about that no more. And I think it's something that takes us away from dangers and stuff because we get comfortable. It's just like, you live in a nice neighborhood, you forgot to lock your door. Oh, well, but
my whole life, I grew up in that, the peak of that, and maybe the peak, I don't know if the peak, but in pure comfort. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, man,
I never heard of that, what you're talking about.
Not like that. It's like
I had asthma growing up, and I had asthma attacks, and it landed me in hospitals. It landed me in hospitals for like 4 years straight at the beginning of every school year, and it was like bad enough to be there for like weeks. But I remember it was like a vacation. I was like, oh, cool. I get to miss school, and I get to play video games at Toronto Sick Kids.
Hey, that's where your mind was at. I'm glad your mind was there instead of depression.
Yeah.
True. Are you doing another evening segment, or is like when you take flight and stuff like that?
So those are Fridays. I usually do those on Fridays, and we take off at around 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, because I'm usually working when you guys are on. One day I might be off next week. I'm gonna try to catch you because you and JP, certain things I used to think I was crazy that I came up with in my mind.
Yeah.
But you guys speak on it, and I just thought I was like, and it put me in a little bit of solitude. And I was very surprised that I was not lonely or wanting for a woman or anything like that. It was just like, I mean, even now I have a girlfriend. She says she want to come over. I'm like, I don't know. I'll see how I feel when I get home because I don't be feeling like it.
Totally.
And when I'm 40.
I used to have a lot of trouble with that too.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that was not love. I'm like, I must be a hateful person. I must be a hateful person because everybody remembers my birthday. Everybody calls me, which is not true, by the way. That was just what Satan told me. And I don't think about others like that. I barely even want to be. I want people to leave me alone. And so I used to think that I was hateful for that. No, I was hateful for different reasons. It's for having anger. The world thinks they're loving for doing those things, but they're not.
No. And sometimes it's just better to be by yourself and figure yourself out before you spread your foolishness to other people.
Understood, Ron. Appreciate that, sir.
Yeah.
But
all right,
feel free to call
another day.
For sure. Call me back about some of these things. I'd love to talk about it more.
All right, now I'll talk to you next time.
For sure. 888-775-3773. Appreciate that. Appreciate the calls. I think I got a super chat here. Hold on. Amazing. Let me get to Steve out of Ohio. Appreciate your call, sir. You're on the air. We got Steve. Steve, Ohio.
I think my cheek muted me. Sorry, man.
It's no problem. Appreciate it, sir. You're on the air.
Yeah, well to hear you, man. Everything well?
All is well, man. Yeah, rocking and rolling. No complaints here.
Hey, pretty cool show from what I caught so far. The Kim Kardashian stuff, yeah, you definitely nailed it the way you explained it. And it made me think of a saying, which would be, those who yell the loudest have the most to hide.
Oh.
Like,
methinks you doth protest too much.
No, well, but when you think about it like that, it's just an ego thing, you know?
No, I'm adding to what you're saying. Isn't that an expression they say that that's like a Shakespeare thing, no? When you doth protest too much, the one who's yelling the most saying no is sometimes showing some guilt, right?
Right, exactly. Like, it's like WWE, you know? The guy's yelling so loud, he's probably the heel.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. My original reason I called in, geez Louise, I can't quite remember it. You said a comment.
Was it about excuses?
That's exactly what it was.
I got you. So, Sean's got you.
Not needing an excuse.
No.
I mean, so I've been going through that, not going to jiu-jitsu because I'm like really tired from, like, I got an electrician apprenticeship, so I'm like digging holes for like 8 hours. And I'm like, man, I need to go to jiu-jitsu. I need to go. But then what you were talking about, it's like, why would I need an excuse? Like, you know, my best friend in my head talking to me is like, oh, don't go, man. You're tired and all that, you know? But the only reason I would need an excuse is if I was looking for approval from somebody else.
Oh, interesting. Can you explain what you mean?
Like, so... you know, guys in gyms will be more tough. Like, hey man, you haven't been here. Hey man, why aren't you showing up? You know, because you know they're getting their butt kicked every day, and they see you coming in less. They're like, aren't you getting your butt kicked as much, you know? But like to not excuse it by like, I don't need to justify what I'm doing in my life, you know, but we're so trained to look to somebody else like, you know, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Looking to a friend like, hey, let me do what you're doing. So, because that looks like that's right. If that makes sense.
I totally, man. I'm following you, and let me explain. Maybe I'm not following you. You tell me. But you know, you're describing that moment with the gym, and this guy's like, "Why aren't you coming around anymore?" And I get it. For some people, that might work. This outward motivation, it might work for them. Like, man, you know, I can't let down Mike. He's expecting me to be there. But for me, I'm the type of person who outward motivation doesn't really work, and pushes me away. Actually, I need to really want to do it. What were you just saying though about that specifically about what were you saying about that? Why
would I need to excuse my absence? You know, like
yes, I wanted to add to that.
The only reason I need to is because I'm looking for somebody's approval.
Right, I'm the type of person if I had Mike at the gym and I had this like a commitment, and I think it would work on me a little bit. Like, I can't let him down. But that struggle of not wanting to let someone down it would just be stressful. And then I would eventually stop going. You know, I just kind of know myself a little bit. You know, outward motivation doesn't really work for me in that way.
Yep. That's what I'm saying too. I mean, it just comes down to so you guys helped me out a lot with this, you know. So when I start listening to my best friend again in my head, like, you know, he's like, oh, yes. You know, I always think back to, you know, that's not me. Let's just let it go. I don't need to excuse what I'm doing. Just be still and relax, you know, sit there. Like what Jesse says, if you don't want to go, don't go. But like the voice in your head is going to be like, yeah, you should go. And I'm your best friend. Listen to me, you know. But I want to thank you guys for keeping me in check.
I appreciate what you're saying because this is the stress. This is what I think should be stressed here. What's so interesting is the freaking mind. The freaking mind. And it's like going to be repeated. I'm going to repeat this till the end, man, because it's the truth. And we got to keep coming back to it. It's the mind and how there's a game being played on us in the mind. You heard Jesse say something like, maybe not you specifically, but I think people can relate to what I'm saying. You heard Jesse say once, you must do the thing that's painful, do the thing that's hard. Well, I'm going to go to the gym. But then Satan starts playing with even that. And now you got to keep up with some appearances that you don't even realize that you're keeping up with. It all comes back to this game that's being played in the mind. And you just have to watch that and see what the heck it's telling you and what it's lying to you about. You know, when you have pain, when there's pain to doing something, like it's just do it tomorrow. When you get the voice that says do it tomorrow, do it later, you do it anyways. Mm-hmm. That's when you do it anyways. That's when you go through the pain and do it anyways. When you get the voice telling you, oh, you're going to let someone down, you got to keep up appearances, that's when you don't do it. You're doing it for the wrong reason. This game in the head, man, and it's so crazy. I'm reminded of, for example, this one woman. I think she was at church or she had called the show, and she was talking about working out too. She was talking about how difficult it is sometimes. And I realized something that the public is doing. And this kind of coincides with the water controversy. Jesse was talking about the water bottles. Did you hear about that?
Oh, well, I was busy working. I haven't been able to catch too much.
Not too important for you to know that, but I realized something here. What is your freaking motivation? If your motivation is, I need to get stronger at my deadlift, I need to get stronger at this curl, I need to get stronger at bench press because you want to, simply because you want to, fine, then that's what you go and do. But some people, they want to just work out, and the world tells you what? The world tells you, well, to work out, well, you gotta buy the gym shorts, you gotta buy the water bottle, you gotta do the deadlifts, you gotta buy the gym membership, and you don't have to do all that. You could just do jumping jacks, you could just do push-ups. I have a friend who's D'd, and he does it all with just body weight. Push-ups, jumping jacks, push-ups, and he's shredded.
Yeah.
So if your motivation is to be healthy, do that. You're still following the world, and it's causing you stress.
So it's just like Kim Kardashian, bro. You know, she's empty inside, so she's looking to fill that God-filled hole with something. So here, let me go to the gym. Or in my case, let me go to jiu-jitsu. Oh, I'm a white belt. I got to get that blue belt. Oh, now I got to get that purple belt.
If that's something you want to do,
then the coach is going to be mad at me, you know?
Yeah. If that's something you want to do, that's one thing, and Satan's going to play with you and be like, nah, he's just too tired, da-da-da. That's when you should do it anyways. But if you're going because the coach is, because you don't want to let the coach down, da-da-da, it's like, you got to, he's trying to teach you something. He's trying to teach you this martial arts, and he's thinking, okay, he's here because he wants to learn, not because he's thinking he's going to let me down, right? So that's that's Satan in the mind.
Yeah, so my thing is just, like, anything right now is going to try to become an identity. So that was, like, my bottom line is I'm trying not to gain any identities, so I don't want to be this, that, or the other. I just want to be a guy. But,
nice.
man, great.
I can appreciate that, Steve. You could just be a guy doing some jiu-jitsu, and you'll probably do it amazingly.
Yeah, honestly. But, I mean, one step at a time, man. And I appreciate you guys very much.
No problem, Steve. I appreciate your call. Call me again.
Yes, sir.
Folks, very nice. 888-775-3773. I mean, there really is only a couple of minutes here. I highly doubt I'll be able to get to anybody. That's pretty much the show, folks. What can I say? Let's see here. Thank you so much, Jabrail. Thank you, supporters. What's up, DJ T 2020? Never forget. Electrician work is good for you, son. Knickers, how much you benching? I'll get back to you on that, DJ 2020. DJ T 2020. Do the hard thing. You understand that? I don't know exactly what you should do, particularly, Steve. That's your life. But the trick is in the mind. So even if you heard something yesterday, you heard something true yesterday. You heard Jesse say something true yesterday. Satan will play with that too. The game is crazy, man, and it's in the mind. If you know, you know. And if you don't, you're not going to make it. I don't know. It's stuff I hear on the internet. You keep watching. Hey, we'll put you back. We got some nice people here in this community. Shall we call it a community? They'll point you the right way. So don't go nowhere. And catch me tomorrow for more American Anchor, baby. It's Bible Thumper Thursday on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. You got to love it. Joel will be live after the Hake Report, which is at 9 a.m. Pacific time, following. I love speaking in a confusing way, huh? Jesse Lee Peterson at 6 a.m. Pacific time, Bible Thumper Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time is the Hake Report. 11 a.m. is Joel Friday. And then the Anchor Baby will be back at noon. Thank you so much, folks. See you tomorrow. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. Peace.